The biggest evolution in payments in the last 30 years is digital assets and stablecoins. We know how important this is because the Treasurer of the United States, Cas Laurens, has come out and said that the stablecoin market is going to grow multiple trillions over the next 3 years. And the US's main focus right now is getting out stablecoin legislation, which they did with the Genius Act, but also passing the Clarity Act, which gives digital asset regulation. Today, I want to look and explore Ripple's involvement in the US as well as abroad in the stablecoin market. They are going to be one of the biggest players when it comes to stablecoin technology, and financial institutions, I believe, will go to them and have them set up their infrastructure. Let's go ahead and play this to better understand where we're starting. This is back in May, but this speaks volumes of where we have come since then. Let's play it.
Different, but I think might be related, which is stablecoin. If really we went big into stablecoin in this country, what effect could that have on the strength of the dollar? Because people might have to hold dollars in order to match against it, or even for treasuries.
Well, we are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. Past administration starved and almost made extinct a lot of these companies and pushed it offshore. So what we want to do is apply the highest U.S. regulatory and AML standards to digital assets, especially stable coins. And I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about 300 billion right now.
Okay, China, the UK, and Japan, those are the three biggest buyers of US debt. They haven't been that interested in buying US treasuries recently, and that's why we've seen a spike in the overall demand for bonds currently, right? Around 5%, which is very, very high. It's making it more expensive for the US to borrow and pay down its debt. Right now, we're spending $1 trillion just on interest to service the US debt. So we do know this is an evolving problem, and stablecoins appear to be the Trump administration's solution, which is great for crypto because 99% of stablecoins around the world currently right now are in US dollars. So crypto is evolving, but the US dollar is evolving with crypto. One needs the other to be successful right now, and you are seeing a big focus on that. And you're also seeing the global push, not just here in the United States, but in Europe, in Japan, in Africa, all over the world, Mexico, South America. I mean, we could go on and on and on and keep naming places, and they are working with stablecoins because it is cheaper to get the money in and out through a stablecoin and a bridge asset like the XRP ledger. So here's Ondos partners with Schuman IO to enhance Euro native on-chain finance on the XRP ledger. This partnership will empower our upcoming financial super app and neobank to serve consumers and businesses seamlessly. So here is the article. We talked about this in previous videos. Schuman Financial to enhance Euro native on-chain finance in the XRP ledger, introducing Europe as a regulated MiCA compliant stablecoin. This partnership leverages the XRP ledger's fast, low-cost settlements and mature DEX DeFi primitives, empowering unknown DEX and our upcoming neobank to serve consumers and businesses seamlessly. With Europe, users will enjoy instant on-chain Euro transfers, direct deposits in Euro via virtual IBANs, and instant payouts to bank accounts. Europe facilitates rapid pay-ins and payouts, connecting bank rails to the XRP ledger for a frictionless experience. All right. And so any financial institution that wants to catch up, right? Remember, if you are a bank and a financial institution and you haven't been working on digital asset infrastructure like JP Morgan and Citibank and Bank of America, then you are behind the 8 ball, right? You are very far behind when it comes to the bigger institutions. And if you don't want those bigger institutions to gain all of this market share and you want to step up, the fastest way you can do that is to go to Ripple or to a Circle and ask them to build a stablecoin using the infrastructure. And you're starting to see some insane benefits here. This is Soil plus Ripple earns 7% on RLUSD. 7%. Here's Brad Garlinghouse with the Soil team. Just to give you some additional context, Soil is a regulated DeFi lending protocol that bridges real-world assets and stablecoin yield, while its partnership with Ripple leverages the XRP ledger for institutional grade compliant yield on RLUSD and broad crypto integration. Soil operates a blockchain-based debt marketplace, allowing companies, preliminary small to medium enterprises to access financing, while investors can lend stablecoins to earn yield backed by real-world assets. The yield comes from loans managed off-chain by private debt funds, making Soil unique in connecting traditional finance liquidity and crypto returns. Soil is fully regulated with a strong focus in the EU. Are you noticing a trend here? here. And then this has always been the plan for Ripple. Over the last few years, they've gone into meetings, they got into boardrooms, and they said, we need a highly regulated stablecoin to move value either domestically or internationally. They don't want to use Tether because of all of the issues Tether comes with, right? We don't know if they have the money, if they don't have the money. Did anybody pay for an audit recently? No. Wait, we don't have the 5 or 10 million? We have billions. Wait, we have billions, but we won't buy an audit. What's going on there? The conversation Bo Hines is having at Tether, right? First day, hey guys, how are things going with the reserves and stuff? Yeah, don't worry about that, Bo. I'm in charge of this stuff now. Yeah, we'll get to that, right? They're not giving you information for a reason, and this is why banks and institutions are choosing to go to Ripple. Let me play this.
The newest innovation that really we believe is a game changer is the use of XRP as a crypto asset to facilitate the cross-border movement of money. So in the old correspondent banking model, you have to pre-fund accounts if you want to send money from one country to another. We avoid that, which potentially frees up trillions of dollars stored in what are called Nostro accounts within the correspondent banking model. We do that by transferring money, say in the US, from US dollars to XRP into, say, Mexican pesos at the other end. And that's all done pretty much instantly versus the old correspondent banking model. So that's the sort of Ripple net side of things.
All right, you see how you have the CNY, the Real, the Euro. Help me out there. What's CHF? Look, Mexican peso, US dollar, Japanese yen. They're all connected in here, and they will all bridge in and out of XRP as the neutral bridge asset for the world. That is the end use case. And even Gary Gensler knows how important stablecoins are.
That in seconds it won't move as much. And the friction will be that you have to sell dollars to buy XRP and then sell XRP to buy peso, or you can interpose any bridge currency. One of the most significant opportunities for stable value tokens that we'll talk about in a few classes is what we can call it as a bridge currency for cross-border.
Question, what is the best bridge asset in the digital asset space with more institutional connections to financial institutions as well as central banks around the world? Which is that? Oh yeah, it's XRP. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum. It's definitely not Solana. It is XRP. Monica Long. Monica Long explains why Ripple did launch a stablecoin.
So really it was just recognition that, wow, this is a really big opportunity. There's gonna be more and more demand for payments through US dollar stablecoins. Being a provider to companies of that service, it would make sense that we launch our own. And, also a recognition that the stablecoin market has been growing and it's going to balloon even more, especially seeing RWA tokenization on the horizon. It's going to only drive more and more demand for stablecoins.
Vet says, interesting fact, Bitstamp has the following stablecoins already issued on the XRP ledger: USD, Euro, Japanese Yen, Great British Pound, Australian Dollar, I believe that is, and CHF. Someone's going to roast me down in the comments for not knowing that currency. I do apologize. But yes, Robinhood. We're accelerating Robinhood's crypto worldwide expansion. Robinhood has officially entered into an agreement to acquire Bitstamp. We know Bitstamp's infrastructure, XRP ledger. Robinhood has access to that now. Robinhood has been building on Ethereum though as well. I'd imagine they want to be in two places at once. I went over this a while ago when this information was new. Just want to show you this really quickly. Two stable coins just launched on the XRP ledger. You have Europe and USDB, which is a US dollar backed Braza Group stablecoin. We talked a lot about the Schuman financial. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and take a look at this, please do so. I want to get here to the Braza Group one. Expected to be MiCA regulated in 2025, fully backed and denominated assets, dollar-backed denominated assets, reserves held by Braza Bank, Banco de Cambio SA, and you have a bank license and regulatory by the Brazilian Central Bank. Ripple has gone to the Brazilian Central Bank. They've met with the Brazilian Central Bank and they know that they can get money in and out of Brazil much cheaper using Ripple's technology. Here's some information about the issuer behind Europe, Schuman Financial, as we talked about, and here's the people that are in control over there. Braza Group consists of a consortium of various companies that govern USDB, Braza Crypto, Braza Bank, Braza UK, bringing the world together, issuing and burning USDBs, custodian of the USDB reserves, custodian of the tokens held at Braza's clients in Europe. And then of course, multi-signature is, the tech here that is being used. Of course, multi-signature on the Brazilian one. Tech compliance, clawback got set up initially to give them permanent ability to react to sanctioned accounts. Clawback is if you've ever bought something on Amazon or a store and you had to return it. You need to be able to claw that money back to get a return. This is what has been set up on the XRP ledger, because if you're going to do international transactions and you're going to have all of these things happening, if a transaction is sent that it becomes illegal, you need to be able to get that money back. Or if we do returns and things like that, if we're starting to have e-commerce and infrastructure using crypto to buy things, right? Like using stable coins to shop at Amazon, to shop at Walmart, to shop at Target, whatever it is, your favorite store, I don't know, put that into whatever the blank is there, but you're going to be able to get that money back if you need to. It talks about clawbacks, transparency, talks about life cycle of this as well, how this all works, reserve issuance, market making, distribution, and use cases. And just, I mean, there's so much cool stuff happening here. All right. A guy on the left made a video, said it was between CBDCs or stablecoins. Is XRP either of those? Let me play this real quick, 24 seconds.
We've seen it that have been lacking. As long as those guardrails are in place, then I think the regulators should be, central banks should be pretty agnostic about who's going to actually win the race, whether it be a CBDC or a stable coin or some other kind of instrument. But right now, we don't have a safe regime in the cryptocurrency base, and we need to get that first before we can actually run it.
You don't have a safe regime until Ripple stepped up and gave you something safe. And you start to look at like, what is XRP doing right now as we expand, as institutional interest starting to come in, as all of these different features are being added to the XRP ledger for international transactions or domestic payments. Banks need all of this stuff to make it make sense, and it's all happening. Look at the XRP ledger pair specifically. Coinbase is coming in hot with USD directly, not a stable coin like Tether. You can see there's just a ton of interest right now for XRP globally, and the volume spot data analysis is heating up on Upbit, Bybit, Coinbase, Binance, Crypto.com, and so much more. And here's Scott Bissett to close us out.
And I'm here to assure you that we're going to work with the controller of the currency, the IRS, and we're going to rescind and amend all applicable previous guidance. And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
The real question is, the U.S.'s plan here is to have other countries use U.S. technology. And you start to wonder, Ethereum is based out of Switzerland, I believe. Bitcoin, we don't know who the creators of Bitcoin are, so it's definitely, we can't say that it's an American technology, and banks and institutions are not using Bitcoin for any of this stuff. Doesn't have the KYC and AML and anti-terrorism checks, doesn't have any of this stuff baked into it. And so you start to look like a company, Ripple, blockchain infrastructure in America that other countries already trust. What do you think they're going to choose? It's going to be their decision at the end of the day. And if the US's infrastructure is set up, with capabilities using the XRP ledger, and other countries are also comfortable with using, because they tested it and they pilot it and they know the people at Ripple, they see Brad Garlinghouse, they say, man, that guy's professional as heck, right? You start to look at some of these other CEOs and you're like, they're not going to be choosing that person to help with their infrastructure. Anyways, this is all heading towards a multi-trillion-dollar stablecoin market. I believe a lot of it is going to live on the XRP ledger with RLUSD, and every expansion of every other stablecoin that gets created on the XRP ledger will be able to interchange with every other currency. That is why the XRP ledger is so special. This is why I own XRP. By owning XRP, I believe I own a piece of the next financial system. Let's go. See you next time. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.